how ETH ETFs are impacting Bitcoin price action. Hey guys, it's Keith Allen, and today on the stream, we're going to talk about the impact these Ethereum ETFs are having on the market, and also discuss something that really kind of a buzz on socials. Aside from the ETH ETFs, seeing a lot of people asking questions about Bitcoin price. How come it hasn't soared from Blackrock's aggressive buying earlier in the week? So we're going to kind of look at these things. Yesterday, of course, a historic first day of ETH ETF trading, and BlackRock's Bitcoin volume parallel to that. So we're going to kind of look how these things are all these forces are kind of working together. First and foremost, before we start, just want to let you guys know how much I appreciate you following along and supporting these streams, and I keep those comments coming. If you like what I'm doing here, please do me a favor, smash all the buttons, share a comment, and by all means, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of these lives in the future. The chat is open if you want to comment. Happy to engage with you guys here. And so let's go ahead and get right into it. First thing I want to share with you is this discussion about BlackRock. And we're going to get into the ETH ETFs here in a minute, too. So don't worry, that's coming. BlackRock on Monday, which is like the day before, like literally 24 hours before the ETH ETFs launched, BlackRock bought a massive amount of Bitcoin, $526.7 million worth. And you can see that right here. Now, they've been on an absolute rip since price bottomed out over that July 4th holiday weekend. And we were at what, 53.5. And since then, buying. As of yesterday's additional 72 million, they're up to about 1.8 billion since July the 5th. So that in itself is kind of a big deal, in my opinion. But people are asking, especially and most specifically, why after this big purchase on Monday, why didn't price absolutely soar? Hey, Wakas, nice to have you with me again, man. So let's go ahead and look at that chart and see what has really happened here over the past few weeks, right? So we talked about that happening on what, July the 5th, which was down here when things bottomed out. And so what's happened since then? A massive amount of upside, right? We're looking at almost 28% since then. And it all culminated on that very day here, which was Monday of this week, when things hit a local top here. What did we get to? 68,486, just shy of 68.5. Of course, strong resistance here at the 2021 top at 69K. We talked about that in a stream earlier in the week as well. So, that's obviously technical resistance, one of the reasons that price didn't move past that. But I think some other forces at work here. On any given day, there are a lot of factors and forces at work in the market. Sometimes those forces work together and kind of, how should I say, increase momentum in whichever direction price is going. And sometimes those forces work against each other and offset each other. And that dampens the volatility and keeps price kind of, in a relative range. So at the moment, we've got a lot going on here. Okay. So, shouldn't be news to you at this point that there have been some pretty large Mt. Gox distributions going on for the past 2 weeks. And so that in itself kind of coincides with this run right here. And despite those distributions, the price continued to climb. Could we have gone higher if that wasn't happening? Possibly we could have. Additionally, I think that people have been anticipating the ETH ETFs. And because of that anticipation, some Bitcoin, and including some from those Mt. Gox distributions, has been rotating into ETH. And in fact, somebody yesterday on X posted that he just dumped his Mt. Gox BTC for more ETH. So, we don't have any evidence that the Mt. Gox distributions are turning into mass liquidation events of Bitcoin. But certainly some of it seems to be being sold. I mean, those people are in mega profit at this point. Some of it's being sold. Some of it's being converted into ETH, as is maybe some ETH, some Bitcoin that those who were recently kind of exposed to crypto exposure through, through the Bitcoin ETF that happened at the beginning of the year, those TradFi investors could be rotating their way into some ETH to try and diversify their crypto related exposure. And likewise, I think the ETH optimists are probably doing the same thing on the DeFi degen side, right? Those guys aren't interested in ETFs; they want to get the yield from ETH, but are likely accumulating more ETH to ride the wave that these ETH ETFs are expected to push. So let's go back to the ETF chart and take a look at what those ETH ETFs could be doing here, right? So, again, unless you've been under a rock, you know that these ETH ETFs launched on Tuesday, yesterday, the first day of actual trading. And, BlackRock came in strong, 266 million worth, Fidelity with 71 million worth, Bitwise with 204 million worth. 21 shares, Van Eck, Invesco, Franklin. Grayscale has two products here. Okay. So we all know what happened the first time around with the Bitcoin ETF that transitioned into actually it was the GBTC Bitcoin Trust that transitioned into the GBTC ETF. Mass sell off because of this huge 2.5% management fee. So that was initially what dumped Bitcoin for several weeks until things kind of leveled off a little bit. We expected some of that this time around, and so did Grayscale, which is why they created this other product, the ETH Mini ETF, with, look at this, lowest, best in class, lowest fee in the entire industry at this point. And I think they're actually doing 0% for the first 6 months or until they get to 2 billion in assets under management. You'll notice quite a bit here. Well, they actually seeded this with 10% from the ETH Trust. So that was basically $1 billion trust. They put a $10 billion trust. They put $1 billion of it in already. So they've got another $1 billion to go until they meet that threshold and start charging this 0.15%. Nonetheless, they bled 484 million. They picked up 15 million. That offset, not great here. But hey, if they're going to do this, let them do it in mass and rip the Band-Aid off quick, right? So we'll see what the day brings in terms of flows. So let's look at what this looks like in terms of price action. I think everybody expected some outflow from Grayscale. Not sure if the consensus was for this much, but the fact that the net volume was still positive in inflows to me is a big deal. So let's go ahead and look at price action. Two things happened yesterday on the Bitcoin side and the ETH side. One of them was that we did just wick below this 21-week moving average, which concerns me a little bit. If we recover this, we've recovered it for the moment, and so as a quick recovery, if we stay up here before, up to and through the weekly close, that may not be a big deal. But if we keep wicking down here, that's an indication that we could go back into this range. That's certainly within the realm of possibilities. This historical range, very important, goes all the way back to the 2021 top. And within this range lives the CME gap. So we could potentially go back into this range. And one of the reasons why is because I anticipate that we're going to have more Bitcoin. Well, first of all, we have more pressure coming. I think I read an article today from Cointelegraph that says that about 40% of the Mt. Gox distributions have occurred so far. So that was all through Kraken. There's like 4 or 5 other exchanges who are starting their distributions now. You can see through Arkham that some of those funds have already started transferring wallets. I think who's next on this list? I want to say Bitstamp. Okay, here you go. So Bitstamp getting ready to do some distributions. So that will continue to happen, right? And that will continue to offset some of the gains that Bitcoin could potentially make. But so far it seems like price is absorbing that. Okay, and in fact today we're moving back higher again after a bit of a dip last night, later yesterday. On the ETH side, similarly, ETH also dipped briefly below that 21-week moving average, but the fact that it's still well above this 0.618 fib, I think, is very strong. We'll watch to see how this continues to develop. According to trend precognition, we still have some upward momentum here on the ETH side, whereas Bitcoin, well, it's still there on the weekly. Let's see what the daily looks like. Daily, daily looks like it's reverting back towards an upward trajectory. So we could see this. We'll see what happens here today. See if we cross this blue line and get another signal here. But at the moment, things are looking really better than expected for Bitcoin, in my opinion. Back to the ETH side. Let's see what the daily looks like on ETH. Well, still an upward trajectory here. Again, and staying above this 50-day moving average is good for ETH. Let's look at the ETH BTC chart. And here is where you're going to notice that ETH is basically, you can see what's happening here, right? This breakdown. A lot of people were expecting to see things break out, but this breakdown really kind of indicative of what I'm saying. I just believe that we have some money rotating here at the moment, and that's making it difficult for the time being. But I think this is all going to normalize. I think that we're going to see in the coming days, we're going to see obviously more ETH ETF flow data that's going to give us an idea of whether Grayscale really has a lot to offload here. And I think in this initial period, right, lots of hype going on right now. Probably through the end of the month, we're going to see this continue, and maybe even first of the month, which is typically a time when we see rebalancings happen. We could see a bigger rotation of Bitcoin funds being reallocated into ETH. So I'm expecting this to kind of continue at least through the first of the month, and then we'll see how things develop from there. I think that things will at that point begin to normalize. So, at that point, we're also getting further down the road with more of the Mt. Gox distributions happening and getting closer to what looks like we could, be having a rate cut coming sooner than later. More economic data yesterday pointing to sooner than later. And what's happening today? Did we see housing come in yet? Housing, did we go up? Did we go down? New home sales down month over month. So these are all things that point towards rate cuts likely in September. And those really, I think, are baked in at this point. So I think I've given you quite a bit to look at here. Let's give you one more thing to look at, because I'd be remiss if I didn't give us a glance at fire charts to show how liquidity has kind of been moving around here these past few days. And this has really been a key to getting a feel for where the volatility is happening, right? As we see these blocks of liquidity in either direction, but as we see these blocks of, in this case, bid liquidity moving, price tends to go along with that. First this was filled here. Price started to drop down. A new block came in. Price started to raise back up. It pushed price up, and we saw what happened here. Then when this block of bids got pulled, price began to fall back down, right? And now you see it inching back up a little bit of what I call liquidity herding to try and push price in either direction. So at the moment, whales are buying. That's a good thing. Let's zoom into the daily, see if that changes. Well, actually, at the moment, it looks like brown mega whales have been buying during the day, but these purple whales are not. They're distributing at this moment. So this would be interesting to see if we fade back into this 65 range. At the moment, it's really been, I would say, not just at the moment, but this week, it's really been difficult to pinpoint what's happening, because there's been some volatility and it's been hard to pick precise targets. That's why I think it's good to zoom out from time to time and get a bigger picture perspective, as you can see here, we do have, and I'm posted this the other night, that we did have some bid liquidity coming in, above the 64K range. And so this seems to be helping price stay elevated at the moment. If price starts to fade back, this could conceivably rug. But I think, especially when we have these distribution events like we have in like we've had in the past, these big distribution events like the FTX distribution, like the Silk Road distributions, we tend to see some bids come in to keep price elevated. Because let's face it, even for those that are way in mega profits from Mount Gox, they want to get the most they can. So even if they're taking a little off the top to realize some gains off of that, they want to do so at the highest possible price. They're not looking to dump the market. So that's why I expect to see more ladders to the upside, and I expect to see, well, at least it's good to see these bid blocks coming in to keep price elevated. Unnamed Snake, hey, I love you too, man. Thanks for following. I appreciate you guys joining me on these. Let's do a quickie look on actually ETH BTC and see what that chart looks like, and see if we can get an idea of, we see things breaking down there a little bit. How low might that potentially go? And we can see here that we do actually have some support here right at the 50 mark here. So that seems to be the strongest support. So, if we have a dip down to that range, that might be an opportunity for somebody looking to get filled there. And let's look at ETH USDT just to see what's happening here. Lots of activity on this chart here. As you can see, heavy resistance right here at this, pretty much right where we're at. But look at the buy pressure. Look at the buy volume here in terms of really most of the order classes. Mega whales did sell a bit. Red sharks kind of distributing a bit. But let's see what this volume is here in terms of the total upside move. It looks like purple whales have done almost 73 million here in the past week. Let's get a look at the daily. Even today, just today, since the market opened, we're seeing some good inflows here in terms of this is market buying, by the way. The CVD is market buying. Up here on Fire Charts is limit orders, and down here we see market buying and market selling. Up is buying, down is selling, and at the moment we're up about 87 million on the day just on Binance. So take that for what it's worth. Most of the ETF flows are happening, by the way, on Coinbase. So as you can see, strong resistance overhead right now. Potentially fades back a little bit, but seeing the buy volume is pretty good to see. Look, brown whales, mega whales just made a purchase here. Let's see how much that was. This just happened. Not a ton, right? They were down 1.86 million. So they basically got even. It was about a $2 million market order. So that to me shows positive flows happening for ETH as well. We'll see if Grayscale offsets that today with their total sum. Oh, that's the wrong chart. We'll see if Grayscale offsets that today. I mean, they're going to have some outflows. How much is it going to be, and how much are the inflows going to be next to it? That's what I'm watching, and that's what we'll see from there. Unnamed Sync, you're looking for a link. A link to what? If you're looking for a link to Fire Charts, there is one in the YouTube description. And actually, I just cranked out a new tutorial on Fire Charts and a comparison of Fire Charts versions 1 and version 2. You can find that on YouTube. It's also on the Material Indicators X channel. And I'm going to go ahead and throw a sale into that. I'll put the promo code in the description. But I can tell you, if you do FC20, promo code FC20, you're going to get 20% off every plan. Again, links will be in the description. With that, going to wrap it here, guys. Thanks again for the support and the following. If you like what's going on, do me a favor, smash all those buttons, and by all means, make sure that you hit that subscribe button up there in the corner. so they don't miss any of my future streams. Thanks again, guys. Have a fantastic day.